conversation here about the HTC One, because Devin and I were talking about it a little bit during the break, and you said something that's interesting that, you know, I want the folks out there to really pay attention to, because we were saying at first we didn't know why people were jumping ship as far as the top, because these weren't guys that were at the bottom of the food chain in HTC. These were top CEOs that would know what's going on as far as, you know, patents, as far as if they're infringing on something. And you said something that maybe they knew. Could you just repeat kind of what you said in terms of maybe that's why so many of the CEOs, as opposed to, you know, the lower guys, were jumping ship?
Yeah, we talked last week about the fact that people jumping ship is not necessarily an indicator of something bad happening.
Right.
Because sometimes a company will take a whole team.
Right, with them.
You know, with them when they get a new job. But we also said there might be more to it.
Right.
Now this is starting to add up. It's starting to make more sense. And the idea behind what we were thinking is that maybe these guys were jumping ship because they actually know that it's a legitimate lawsuit.
Right.
Maybe they knew that they took or stole,
right,
you know, the
patents
the
from
ideas,
Nokia.
And so they hoped that it wouldn't go to the, you know,
right,
to this place, but
right,
now it's there. They know that this lawsuit is in the works.
Right.
Hey, why sit around? Why stay on the sinking ship? Why not go over? As
right,
a matter of fact, they might turn state witness.
Exactly.
These
because
guys might say, we left because we didn't want to be a part of this.
And it shows that they left.
Yes.
Not they were fired or anything. They left, so they could say, we could know our conscience.
Yes.
Our conscience could know.
Man.
We couldn't live with ourselves.
This
when we were told we had to do this,
yes,
we could, and we had to quit.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and so all of us, and so now they're absolved.
Yeah.
Now they're absolved because, you know, and so I mean, these guys play some serious
hardball.
Oh yeah, some serious hardball out there. And now, so what do you think will happen if Nokia, if everything is adding up the way we think it's adding up? People are leaving because now this lawsuit just came to light to the public now. But obviously internally, you know, legal action because they have lawyers and so forth. So they knew this already. So what do you think will happen with HTC? Can they survive this kind of lawsuit, especially going against their flagship phone? Not just the HTC first, that Facebook phone that didn't sell. So if they have to pull it, okay, well but their flagship HTC One, can they survive?
If Clinton survived the presidency after that scandal, after the cigar smoking,
right,
all that stuff, anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Because the writing was on the wall with Clinton.
Right.
You know, I mean, that was serious. And this is big. But
right,
here's the difference. Clinton didn't need financial support.
Right.
There wasn't, what do you call it now? What do you call it? Okay, so he didn't need, let me go from a different
right.
way. He didn't need financial support. He didn't need an immediate, the impact wasn't immediate.
Right.
You know, it would have been what do they do at the end of 4 years? They have
re-election?
a re-election.
Right.
The re-election was way down the road.
Right, right.
So he didn't have an immediate issue to deal with.
Right.
These guys have an immediate issue because the impact on the bottom line is immediate.
Right.
If people, you know, that 1 billion or whatever, anything that they charge them, gonna hit the bottom line immediately.
Immediate. And Nokia, and the thing is, Nokia is not only saying that they want money. They want money for damages. They're saying they want them to stop. So what they're saying is they need to pull the phones that they have on the market already, stop using whatever equipment that they're infringing. So remake the HTC One, remake it, and then pay for the damages. So Nokia wants that trifecta.
That's death.
They want that trifecta. And the thing is, Samsung sold over 5 million units of their HTC One, which is good in the first month that it was there. But they said that it would have been a lot more had they been able to get the parts to make more. Because they were having supply issues, because remember the supplier said you're no longer a tier 1 customer, so we'll give you what we have left. And HTC couldn't get the parts they needed to make the HTC One. So they said if we could have gotten the parts, we would have had more phones out there, and I think we could have sold more. So
What was the part that they claim is?
it was the processor. The processor for the phone,
Mm-hmm.
the Snapdragon processor. Yeah, the company had it allocated to iPhone 5s and all the other Galaxy S4. They had those processors relegated to them, and HTC was like, okay, we want those same processors, and they said we already have customers, so that's why their phone was delayed for so long because they couldn't get the processors they needed to finish making the phones. Mm-hmm. And so now that they got about 5 million to send out those phones, they would have gotten more had they not lost their tier 1 status. But now that they have to remake this situation now with remaking the HTC One, taking out the parts, paying for the lawsuits, and now the failure with the HTC First and things like that. I don't see anything is possible, but I don't see HTC being able to survive. If this lawsuit and the court said, yes, Nokia, you have won. That's too much. Maybe if they just had to pay, then they could say, okay, let's get a payment plan going. We sell a bunch of HTC Ones, we can pay you. But you're taking away what's making them the money, the HTC One, and you want them to remake that, stop using the part that you have, so they have to remake their phone now with whatever parts.
It's serious.
That's serious. And pay, I'm telling you, man, I don't see HTC being able to come back. If this thing goes, I don't see HTC being able to come back from this relatively soon. So let's hope that those guys, the lawyers for HTC, are pretty slick. Well, apparently, if those CEOs left for that, they must know something that we don't know. In terms of, they must know that this is like an open and shut case almost. So we're getting out of here, because if there was a chance that they could fight it or still be on top, maybe those CEOs would still be there now. And they just up and left. There was no arguments in the company. There was no reports of dissension or any kind of thing that would make you think, oh yeah, this guy was unhappy. People just up and left. Like in a week span, top CEOs, I mean the CEO for their product manager division,
and
their sales
Apple,
division.
right? Where did they move to?
They went to Microsoft.
They went to Microsoft.
Yeah, they went to Microsoft to work on the Microsoft Windows phone. I mean, and guess what? Nokia is what? A Microsoft Windows phone. You see, so these guys, I'm telling you, man.
This is major for
HTC.
For HTC.
Oh yeah.
But I'm just thinking that if they might just go after those managers,
Oh yeah. I mean, because HTC is not going to, the head of the company, he's not just going to, go down by himself when these guys were there, and unless they truly were against it. Like, they truly were against it, they didn't agree with it, and so finally they really did have to leave.
I doubt it.
But
I doubt that these guys are walking away,
right.
Clean.
Clean, yeah. They had their hand in the cookie jar.
Their hands up to their elbows in this. These guys.
And they're trying to act innocent now.
Yeah, they're trying to act innocent, but the emails and the memos,
right?
their same technology is gonna bite them.
It's gonna.
That's what it is.
And so, this is definitely an interesting story. So we're gonna keep you up to date as to what's happening with this story. But speaking of Microsoft, we're talking about Microsoft and their phones and stuff like that. We said here on Tech Pulse, one of the things that we don't know Microsoft is going to do with the release of their new system, because Microsoft is, even though they're saying that they won't abandon their software package, they said abandon like Adobe did their software packages. And I was looking in the store the other day, and Adobe they have a software, I forget what it's called, but they have a software that's $1,900. $1,900. Actually, it's $1899.99. So if that means anything, but $1,900. So to say that Adobe made the wrong move in taking all of their software and just making it available in the cloud and saying you can pay an affordable subscription just doesn't make any sense. And then Microsoft saying that it's going to take an additional, they feel, a decade for people to really move away from hard disk type software. It's going to take them that long to move away. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. People are in the cloud right now. And so now Microsoft is saying that they plan on supporting their 360 system well into the future. And again, this is not like Microsoft, because Microsoft, as soon as the 360 launched, they ditched the Xbox immediately. You know, and you could pick the Xbox up for the price of a rock, you know, on the side of the road. You know what I mean? The people were using that thing as door stops, you know, bricks to kick, you know, because it just wasn't worth anything anymore. And now Microsoft says that we're not only going to support the 360 well into the future, but they're looking to sell 25 million more units. They say they want to get to the 100 million unit mark before their system, before they end the life cycle of their system. Now, I don't know if that's the right move to come out and tell people, well, we want to hit 100 million, so buy it. You know, I mean, who cares? The consumer doesn't care about numbers.
That doesn't work.
No, I mean, you can't come out and say, hey, we want to hit 100 million, so buy a 360. I don't care what numbers you want to hit. I don't want a 360. You see what I'm saying? And so Microsoft is saying that they are projecting, and here's where I have a problem with this projection. They're saying they're projecting the sales of 400 million of the new Xbox One. Now, why I have a problem with that is because the camera of the Xbox One is just totally invasive. I mean, they're using this thing to count how many people are sitting in front of the unit. So when you rent a movie, they can charge you accordingly. You know, I mean, that people don't want to be. And then Microsoft came out and said that, well, you know, we take your privacy very seriously. We're not sharing this information. It's like, it's not about sharing. I don't want you to have that information. It's not about you sharing it with someone else. I don't want you to know that there's 4 people in my house.
No, it's better if they charge based on some random number and say, we'll charge you for 4 people on average.
Right, just say it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, then to say we're gonna count.
Or not even say it. Just
Right.
add the numbers. Just
Right.
Say, you know, and
just say, well, it's a family movie.
Family
so
package.
right.
And we're
That-
gonna do that.
But no. They're
Now they want to use Google Glass.
now
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use
the Microsoft has come up with their own version of Google Glass.
face recognition.
Face recognition. So can you imagine that? I mean, and they're saying that this information only goes and it's not going to be out there unless you opt in to it being out there. But my problem is I don't want even them to have that information. So think about that as we come up with this next break. The new Xbox One, are you going to buy the new Xbox One knowing, and matter of fact, reports are saying, I'll tell you what the reports are saying, what fans are saying now that they find out that this is Microsoft Road, what fans are saying right after this, right after the break. We're going to talk about that. Stay